And what's behind the title, Mark Cards and Loaded Dice? Is there like something behind that?
Yeah, that's referring to basically the world and the government and the way that you're treated. Um, the world lays out this thing that you're free, especially here in the United States. You're free, you can do anything you want to do. You can go anywhere you want to go, do anything you want to do. And and if you don't like the way things are going, you can vote. We have a vote every once in a while, every 2 years, every 4 years, all this. And that's dangled out there like a carrot to a horse that is walking through 3 feet deep mud and having a really hard time. So it gives you hope. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't like the way things are going right now.
Hmm.
Next time comes around, I'm going to vote like this. I'm going to vote like that. And when you witnessed a lot of the things that happened throughout COVID and all that stuff, you started to understand that, like, this game is rigged a lot. It's kind of like the world is like Las Vegas, where the house always wins. And you can sit at the table and you can play the game, but the cards are not dealt fairly to everybody. And I think that they've took advantage of that for a really long time of using the media and everything else to kind of paint this picture of pure freedom. And the truth of it is, it's almost like we've evolved to some kind of technocracy digital prison or something like that, where surveillance is all over the place. Every move you make is tracked with GPS. Every purchase you make, everything you do, and people need to understand that stuff, because it's like there's a lot of division right now,
Hmm.
and that division is a tool to get the job done about having the cards marked against you.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's one of those things where I think people need to start understanding that at the end of the day, politicians are like a bunch of actors and rock stars, and they change from time to time the cast of characters. But the real deal is, and it doesn't take a scientist to see it, the people who have all the money in the world, they just keep getting more and more of it. And the people who struggle and work a blue collar job or on a farm or whatever it is, they don't see the help or anything from the government. When you're $40 trillion in debt, and there's even one homeless person walking around, that's a crime. And when you are $40 trillion in debt and you go warring with other countries and stuff like this all the time, it's like it speaks volumes about how things are. And I think that everybody just needs to come together as one people and start to understand that, yeah, we all got differences from each other, extreme differences, but
Hmm.
we have more differences collectively from the people that run things than we do between ourselves. And that's where, if we just got together, I think our voice could be heard a lot better. And so my album is sort of like in a different way, like a fight song to gather the troops a little bit on some of these ideas of, like, hey, if I'm going to have a life, it's going to be up to me. I'm going to have to do it myself, because nobody's going to come save me.
Yeah. Which is sad, but it's kind of reality. Like sometimes you have to be there for yourself.
It does. I mean, look at the people from North Carolina and Hawaii, when they got their lives got absolutely trashed and flushed down the toilet with the wildfires in Hawaii, the extreme flooding in North Carolina. And it's I don't care what your beliefs are or what background you're from or whatever it is. I don't see how anybody can look at, say, North Carolina and see the devastation that happened to everybody lived there, and then think that giving them a $600 check is the answer to having your house floating down a river and every single thing that you ever owned in it. And the big uh help you is cool. We're gonna give you a $600 check. And the same thing with Hawaii, same thing within California when they had the wildfires out there. It's like people should demand more. And I just think, I don't think the government ever was made to be like some kind of thing that is put in place to just go crazy helping you, but
Yeah.
it was meant to hold up infrastructure like building hospitals, police stations, having a military for defense when people attack you. um and other than that, the concept was freedom. It's like the whole point of leaving England was we didn't want to be ruled by a bunch of people, and we didn't want to be taxed of taking all of our money. And we here in the United States, we've let these corporations gain a foothold with our government so much, and same thing across the world, it seems, that there's just so much corruption. And it's the reason why when people wonder, like, why is the government so big and
Mhm.
spends so much money, but then nobody gets along with each other, and there are tons of people having a hardship. And it's like, I tell you, I can't explain it. All I can say is that nothing ever changes, and the same merry-go-round keeps going around. So maybe we need to start taking a look at ourselves and
Mhm.
how we get along with each other, because all that means is if we could just get along together, it'd be like unionizing. We'd all be in one union. And then when bad things go down, we could have a unified voice about, no, we don't want to do this or we don't want to do that. But
Mhm.
they've got us right where they want us right now, because everybody looks at the differences between each other instead of the similarities. And then when they finally wake up from this, they'll realize it's like it doesn't matter what color you are, what background you're from, what you believe in, or whatever else. You're made out of cells, and you're a human being, and you need to eat food and sleep and drink water just like everybody else. And so we have a lot more in common, I think, than the media tries to pit each other against with.
Yeah, that's a lot of emotion in one album. So was that like really therapeutic for you?
It really was. And I tell you, as a thing, it in some ways the album just saved me. I was so disgusted and fucking mad about
Yeah.
all of my plans and all of my hard work. I had put 300 or 400 hours into the production of the album that I was on tour with. And next thing you know, the whole country has gone mad. Everybody is scared to death. Everybody's also mad at each other. Um, and it's like with music, um, a lot of the sacrifice that I'd done throughout my life of hard times, living in a warehouse when I was single with no bathroom or toilet, a broken down car outside this was in East Nashville, broken down car outside the warehouse that wouldn't even run. Um, and then later trying to raise a family and whatnot, and all the trials of the music business. It's like, you know, a lot of people would have quit, I think, at different pivotal times in my life when things went really wrong. And in 2020, at that point, I had been doing this for 27 years, 28 years. And,
No.
and it really fucked me off, because it's like I started to resent music, and I started to resent the idea of what I had been doing. I felt guilty toward to my family of that. they deserve better than this. And that I started to question, was my vanity about me wanting to play music, was I taking that too far in like in the way that my family's lives had gone, thinking of the days that we had been broke, thinking of days where I wouldn't eat food because I wanted everybody else in my family to eat food and whatnot, because we literally had no money and no food. And then, that resentment built up an edge, and it sort of, for a minute there, it made me want to go like, fuck this. Like, I'm done. It's like I can craft all the crazy records I want to and put hundreds of hours in them, but this thing's out of my hands. It's like, look at what can happen here. And it had happened to me in different ways prior through my career, of having these enormous peaks, but only for something really stupid to like knock the house of cards down. And so like when I got, to going on making mark cards and loaded dice, it became this thing with me of like, I've been on major labels. I've been on the biggest one in the world, BMG, that's got Johnny Cash and Lady Gaga. I've been on some of the coolest um, independent record labels like Amphetamine Reptile Records and Southern Lord Records, Relapse, all this. And
Mm.
and as much as I felt like I had a handle on controlling the machine while I was a part of it, meaning never laughing at anybody's jokes that get anywhere, never, you know, kissing up to anybody about anything. I thought I had myself pretty protected from all this stuff. But then I started to look back at a lot of the losses and things that had happened. And so then it became like, you know what? In a world of bullshit where people do everything for wrong reasons or weird reasons, I have a thing here. It's like I appreciate the music that Towns Van Zandt made, that Hank Williams Sr. made, that the Outlaws made, David Allan Coe, Bill Monroe. And I feel like that in 2026, there's a lot of beautiful things that have to do with that style of music that being made currently right now, that it could be all of that and more if I do it right. And it's like it began a long process about production, of just making sure, because I wanted the recording to be true to the recordings from the golden age of recording, like during the late 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
Albums like Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, the sonics of that, where there's the acoustics are so real and larger than life. And the day that the test pressing came, I pulled that thing out of the box and slapped it on the record player, listened to the whole album from beginning to end. And
Mhm.
that was a milestone. I mean, it felt like I was redeemed from all the pain and punishment and craziness of COVID and being locked up. And then the next one was the day that an actual copy of the record with its cover and the whole business came. And I
Yeah.
looked it over, pulled it out, checked it out, and it just fucking felt so amazing because, when you think up an idea that's kind of way different than what other people are used to from you, with me, hey, everybody, as far as my friends, like, yeah, I think I want to try to reinvent traditional country music and some of the psychedelic period of country from the 70s. A lot of people that are friends with me, they were like, almost, I think, thought I was kidding, kind of. And one of my friends was like, "Are you out of your mind? This is like Glenn Benton from Deicide doing polka music, or like doing something really weird or whatever." And I'm like, well, you don't understand. Like, meaning I'm not talking about like fucking taking an acoustic guitar and like traveling around the country sitting there with just me singing and playing joke songs or something.
Yeah,
I'm talking about that I want to be one of the best at this. I want to be on I want to play the Ryman Auditorium. I want to play the Grand Ole Opry. I would love to get to hang out with more of my heroes and whatnot, like Willie Nelson and stuff like that. But I got to prove myself to be able to do that. And,
yeah,
for me to do that, was the idea of Mark Cards and Loaded Dice production the way it is to give people an album that would have the same sensation as, say, like back in the 70s when Towns Van Zant's first album came out, and you listen to it and realize it's like, man, this guy ain't part of the machine. This guy is playing these songs from the heart,
yeah,
and he's taking what Hank Williams Sr. did and personalizing it in a different way than Hank did it, but from a same kind of philosophy. And I'm very, it's hard. I'm a worse critic of me. I don't think anything I do is ever any good and
hmm,
or good enough. And it was very surprising because when I got the final album and all that stuff, I took a look standing back at it and I was just like, you know what? Fuck yeah, man. It's like for what I'm into myself these days, if I was to walk into a record store and grab that album, it would just be everything I ever wanted because it's got the old country sound and bluegrass and Appalachia thing, but then it's got that like 1970s little bit little bit more hard hitting element about it, of like Skinnerd or something like that. And and to me that's fresh and new with everything that I'm surrounded with of virtual instruments and digital technology. And
yeah,
it's just it's just it's just being plain and real.
for sure. And for anyone watching the interview, the album Mark Carson Loaded Dice, you do have to wait a little bit. It doesn't come out until the first. I think it's a great album. It's definitely one I would recommend if you're into country, you're going to like this. There's just so much uniqueness in it, and it does come out from Supernova Records. I'm going to leave everything down below so it's easier for you guys to pre-order it or take the listen to it if the interview's already out.